A while back, I built this fishing village a few hundred blocks away from my starter area. At the time, I was really happy with it, but I always wanted to expand it. And now that I've unlocked villagers after day 500, I finally have a reason to come back. If I'm going to have fishermen villagers in this world, there really is no better place than a village specifically for them. And before I move on to bigger projects like the city I've been planning, I want to wrap this one up. To get ourselves started with this expansion, I'm gonna need a couple of blocks put together. Got a bunch of things here that we're gonna be needing, but not quite everything, as I'm all out of moss, and since I'll need to expand our pathway for the village expansion, I need to restock to craft the most of cobblestone I need. Which is looking really good here, and I think this is everything I need to get ourselves started. Well, disregarding dirt and grass and mud, but I've got a solution for all of those. Hopping on Rumble and riding over to the fishing village. Having dropped the first inventory off, I'm back towards home to get the second. I'm really starting to long for a shulker box. Oh well, let's get this dropped off as I've moved it over. At least this wasn't too bad. The trips later when I'm actually building the buildings, it's going to be a whole lot more work. I think it's important before we get started to outline a bit of a plan. Where my plan since I built the first part of this village has always been to expand to the right with a pathway snaking its way down to the shore. A few more houses for more fishermen to live in as we currently only have one. And to block out the savanna biome, I want to create a custom birch forest. And of course, I can't forget fixing up the lake and river. Because, well, currently this fishing village is not even connected to the ocean. So all they have to fish in is this little pond. And, well, there is a bunch of fish in here. I just don't think it's enough to actually export the fish. So that should probably be fixed. But let's get ourselves started with the pathway running through this new section, where I want a bit slimmer path from the rest of the village, as there won't be a dock or anything at the end of this one. Where it connects up here to the main path, but currently is very much floating, and we already have this retaining wall going on here, and in an effort to get a little bit more space, I think what I'm just going to end up doing is expanding this a little bit, following our new path. Added on a little top trim to that, and that's looking a whole lot better, but the rest is still quite a mess. So let's grab some dirt and get to work cleaning it up, along with marking out the spots for the new houses I want to bring into the area, which is starting to become at least somewhat put together. Enough put together that I can very easily run my horse down to the water's edge now. And yeah, I think it's time we start fixing that up. And for that, I think it's time to redeem myself, which requires me to first head home, where while I was searching for all the armor trims, I managed to get 4 new wither skeleton skulls. So let's also grab some soul sand, and you know, just in case, grab ourselves our bow. And oh, perfect. I already have pretty much a beacon inside my chests. Get ourselves down to the desert, leaving Rumble right over here. And yeah, I made quite a fool of myself when I tried to defeat the wither last time, so I'd like to just redeem myself now that I actually have proper armor, because I was so confused on why I was doing so much damage. And well, turns out that if you don't have protection 4 on anything, the wither does a lot of damage. And now I have both blast protection and some prot, so this should hopefully go a little easier. And you know, if something goes wrong, my trusty hole is somewhere in the area. You know, it'd be really good if you hit your shots as well, Stan. Oh boy, we're in the same situation, aren't we? I suck at this game, I guess. He's just so high up. I want to reach him with my... You gotta hit stab if you actually want to do something to him. Okay, there we go. Okay. Still suck at this game, but at least that was better than last time. While we are down here, let's rumble up to a lead and head across the water with our chest boat. We start solving our mud shortage. I want to create a completely new lake bed for the lake covered in mud, as the dark color makes the water look way deeper than it actually is, and just looks so much better than random patches of gravel, sand, and dirt. After filling up both the chest boat and my inventory, I'm back up north to the fishing village with the resources. Along with our brand new beacon, I'd like to get set up down by the shore. To, of course, start digging out the river so that the fishermen of the village can actually reach the open sea with their boats to catch some proper fish. Where I'm spending the next hour clearing away terrain underneath the water to both smooth out the lake and create the riverbed. Which already, even without the proper floor and water still flowing like a mess, is looking a whole lot better. Still have to open it up a little bit more, but I'll get back to that a little later. Where the first section I want to tackle is the river. And I think right by the village, it would look really good with a small little beach where I'm covering the rest of the riverbed with mud. Where just this small section is a really good start. But let's continue figuring out the rest of the lake, where I first of all want to get the edge figure out so that I can then work from there to create the rest of the lake bed with the coarse dirt stepping down a block here and there, but mostly with the mud just running around until I'm completely out. Which means I need to once again restock, so off I head on the boat. Back and over to the mangrove swamp where I can spend the next little while refilling that chest completely with mud alongside my inventory. Couldn't quite fill up the boat nor my inventory because I ran out of shovel and, well, I've actually already broken my netherite digging back at the village. So I should probably get a third one and get these repaired. But first, let's utilize the mud I did manage to gather to continue filling in the lake bed as far as the supply reaches. Just dropped off about half a stack of mud left and I managed to fill everything in. I'm very surprised at that. Don't mind this section over here. I'm gonna get back to transforming that a little later once I actually get around to fixing the floating path I have. I got a good region planned out here, but I want to finish up planning the mountain that's gonna go here. Mini plans. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be starting a birch forest up on this little hill here to cover the savanna, but I'd also like to extend that on the opposite side and just do a bunch of work on the terrain. And if we take a peek at the map, this river here connects up to the jungle river, which is a really cool piece of terrain that I definitely want to build something in the future. So I'm going to be transforming probably that entire river to make it look a little better. But for now, back home we go as I've got blocks to gather. But first, tools to repair. So down into the depths of the castle to do just that. And boy, I need a new XP farm. This one is so slow. But luckily we are just under 200 days away from unlocking the end, which means I can make an Enderman farm really soon. Took some time, but tools are repaired and I'm heading south. I want to continue the style we have at the village at the moment, which means I need to restock on a ton of mangrove. Mainly stripped, so let's finish clearing away this little patch of mangrove forest as I've already decided I need to reset these chunks for a future build I have in mind that I want to build here as a part of our mangrove civilization. But we aren't quite there right now, so let's hop on Rumble and head back home. Where the second wood type I need a ton of is pale wood. And well, I need a lot, as I need nearly 1,000 pale oak fences for the small patch of forest I want to build up, and each stack of logs turns into about 3 stacks of fences. Where after a lot of shopping and a bunch of crafting, this is what I've gathered so far. Staying on the wood resources, I actually had a lot, but need to gather up a bit more dark oak. As well as some cherry, a block I don't use all that often, but I made the terrible mistake of asking my mod to make interiors for me, which means village is getting interiors. Yeah, that means not only the houses that I built in the previous episode where I worked in the village, but also all of the new ones. So I have so many blocks together and interiors built. Which means after just barely finishing off the wood resources, we have already over 2 double chests of items, and I don't think I've even made a dent in the resource gathering. So let's get a few more resources crossed off our list, just checking off a couple of copper items. Where I actually had most of it because I didn't need that much. Still missing 1 item though, so just gotta ride on down to the copper processing factory. We're right down the stairs. I should have a bunch of lanterns already. Need 1 oxidized and 2 weathered. Let's finish up our tree related resources. First off, some regular acelia for some highlights in our forest. Then moving out to the village, as it's going to save me time later, not having to move all of the leaves I need, as well as a forest, even though only a small part of one requires a lot of leaves, where I'm utilizing the already grown acacia trees to gather those leaves. Onto the main leaf block, where I need over 2,000 blocks of birch leaves for the entire forest, spending the next little while growing, breaking the leaves and stems, regrowing, rinse and repeating. Back home, let's get a bunch of podzol for the forest floor gathered up, and of course some spruce leaves to allow me to create darker patches of leaves within the forest. With a few more foliage blocks and some looking through my chest to put together some stone resources. It's starting to come together, and well, I've already spent over 15 in-game days just gathering blocks, and we aren't even done. Luckily, I don't need a lot of different mine resources, but I definitely want a beacon setup, as a birch forest is going to require a ton of diorite walls, so I'm clearing out not 1, not 2, but 3 blobs of diorite from the caves to utilize in our build. Dropping that off, it's time to start tackling the items I need 1, 2, and 3 of, which is a large portion of the material list, first off being carpets and wood. Having spent a bit of time in the storage, I'm running low on a few nether resources, so into the portal I go. First off, a bit more soul soil than I got on hand at the moment. For the first time, I also need some crimson wood. I really need to get back into utilizing both this and warped. Speaking of warped, I need to run over to the warped forest. Not for wood, but for the fungi. The blue color should add some nice bits throughout the forest floor. We are definitely getting there now. Had to add in 2 more chests down here, as there are just so many blocks with all the interiors. Even skeleton skulls and dried ghasts. Why? Why are there dried ghasts in my interiors? But we're unfortunately not done just yet either. For one last adventure, first over to the fishing village, as I might as well drop an inventory of items off, and onto the boat and off for new lands. New colder lands. Is that an acelia tree on top of an iceberg? It is. But I need 3 things up here. Oh, look at the bullet cows. Okay, why aren't there any sweet berries? There should be. Oh, there's so much rooted earth. This is going to be a great place to farm that in the future. Great, I found a trail ruin, but I haven't even found a single sweet berry. Oh, okay. Oh. I was getting a little worried there. Need quite a few of these, but obviously we can grow more at home. Now, let's just find our way out of here. And oh, there's a pillager outpost out here as well. Oh, look at all these rare structures. Quick little pit stop though, as I need a bit of ice as well. Time to head back home with our berries and ice. Just got to make some pit stops first at an ocean monument to grab some prismarine, and then at the fishing village to drop some of the resources off, as well as fill up on string to craft the final candles. Dropping said candles off in there, and just one final item remaining now, where I just need an egg, 2 of those, 3 of them, and 3 buckets. Might as well utilize this cow stuck in my sheep pen to get some milk, where to sugar we can craft the icing on the cake, which is a cake, because why wouldn't we need a cake? Last time I asked Bernie to do my interiors. It probably isn't, because it actually means I'm doing the interiors. But that's a whole lot of resources. Oh my god. All left to do is move the resources over. And my, do I wish I had joker boxes. Instead, utilizing a horde of donkeys on leads to cut down the trips I need to make to 2. Okay, 3, as I still need to fill my inventory after returning the donkeys. But at least I've got all my resources over here. You even had to gather a few extra for one of the interiors. Yep, I mentioned it briefly. I'm making interiors for the new builds and all of the old structures, where there's a lot to chew off, especially with the new buildings, so I think we should get started. Now, this is going to be quite a messy ordeal, so I don't think I can quite show it with the time lapse. So instead, let me just walk in here. That was time consuming, took well over 20 minutes, but let me quickly show you around the Melvin's Crab Potter services. Yeah, it's quite a mouthful. I need to put some glow lichen on that, but we got a little entry room here, and I'm realizing I forgot a pot in the corner there. Gotta fix that. Got a little back area here as well. Then you come into the main kitchen. You got the window up there incorporated. This door, very easy to come out of. And coming down through here, they're missing a book there as well. Gotta fix that. But well, up on the second floor here, pretty spacious. We got a massive bed, a bunch of paintings, a little armor stand, and some candles, a little workstation. Just a nice little place. And I'm building 7 of these. And this one took me 20 minutes. Oh, yay. And these are tiny interiors. Can't wait for the city. Well, got 2 more houses that I need to fill with an interior still. So let's continue with that. Or not. I've started, but my material list seems to have messed up because I'm missing a lot of blocks. I even thought there was just a mistake with this house, and I went up and started this house up here. It's also messed up. I don't quite understand why. I've never before had an issue with Lymatica's material list, but for some reason I do, and I'm missing a bunch of blocks. So I don't really know what that's about, but I don't really want to get more blocks right now. I've just spent hours and hours gathering blocks, so I kind of want to build. So let's prepare for that. I want to grab all of our foundation blocks real quick, where I can run through the builds and add in the sections where I want foundations showing. Running seems to have removed the inside foundation, so it looks a bit weird for now, which we could start to fix by building up the main walls of the first of our 4 new buildings, a diagonal, which looks a little old without a roof, but I do just want to come out here on the outside and add in a few of our detailing blocks. So also thinking some spruce fences with candles on top of them as a little guardrail sort of thing. As you're going down the slope, we can maybe add in a second one down here. And I feel like it makes sense to just have a little like log pile out here. We'll just extinguish those, and that just adds a little bit out front here. I have an idea for something fun to bring in here, but I want to build this structure up first. But before we get to that, we need to finish this roof. And well, all the roofs, well, all the buildings in this town are extremely similar, but I would like to just experiment with a different styled roof, or palleted roof, where we can grab some mossy stone. We can also grab some cobblestone and a bunch of our tough blocks. That's deep state stamp. A deep state blocks. Utilizing these blocks, we can build up the diagonal roof, which I topped with some slabs to make it a bit of a shorter building than it would have become otherwise. Around the back of it, of course, a chimney sticking out, using a mix of tuff towards the base and some brick and granite towards the top. The house is looking really good, but the terrain here next to it isn't great, because this is where the forest is gonna start, where we can just fix that with extending the terrain a little bit. And I like trees, just like you might be liking this video. And if you haven't already, you should subscribe. While you're at it, leaving a like and comment helps me out so much, even if the comment just says no comment. And just wrapping up this first tree. Because yes, I'm impatient that I just had to build a tree. I like trees, okay? I had to build one. It looks great. It's gonna look so good with trees going down all the way around, all the way down to the shore down there. It's gonna be a lot of trees to build. Some more houses! Yay! Okay, I've just had a look through my list, and this is the amount of blocks that's missing. And this. And I need a bell still. How? I don't know, because a ton of these I've already gathered. They just haven't showed up in the correct amount. Oh, I just spent an hour doing this. I need to... Now I need to move all of this over. Well, at least that problem is solved, hopefully. Having moved these resources over, I've actually gone through and finished these interiors. Took a little bit of time, but I think it's looking quite good. We got our shepherd one in here with a little bedroom up top, and I think it turned out great. Again, my mud burning dumpster fire has designed all of these interiors. Is they like interiors? I like having interiors. I don't like building them. They take a lot of time to build, and I didn't quite have the time, so I asked if they did. And we got this one here, which is the fisherman's net workshop. Yep, that's what we're calling it. With no interiors left, we've got to keep on building to make space for more, of course. Carrying on down the sloping path, I want to extend in a building. I want to become the merchant's house, where I'm envisioning this is the person taking the fish that fishermen catch and travels to the cities and other villages to sell it. Perhaps even the owner of the land, as it's definitely a bigger building. Moving down the slope, I want a third diagonal building in this village. This one just to house a fisherman, where I've gone back to our original roofs for the previous and this house, as making all 4 of the new houses with a different roof will look a bit odd. And walking on down here, it's just looking great. These 3 new buildings we brought in really just expands the village, and I'm loving it so far. But before we get our 4th and final house extended in, I want to come into this little area right here. As with the merchant being right next to us, I want to throw in a little wagon, where something I've really been loving in this world is using grindstones as wheels. So I, of course, want to bring that back right into this one, where we're going to probably leave it empty, as we have a second wagon down in the actual fisher dock area that does have a load in it that's going places. So this one's just an extra one in case they have a extra large catch and need to bring even more into the village or city. Well, more. They need to transport more because they had a larger catch. Makes sense. Nope. Oh, I needed that trapdoor. Something I also need, which I have down here, spruce stairs. Very important. We need to have a space to sit. And we'll just use those as temporary, as the little like leashes that collect up to the horse, and just a little topper for that. Super simple, but I just really loving throwing this around my builds in this world. Should probably figure out a few more designs though, as well, I mean, actually, this region, it makes sense. Maybe there's a grand wagon maker in the big city. I gotta make a grand wagon maker in the city now. Oh well, let's just break the terrain underneath this guy, as if this is a little area that's actually being used, and this is being brought in here fairly often. So we're just gonna throw in a little bit of coarse dirt. Before we get back to building houses, there's another little minor detail I want to bring in. We're just bringing out some spruce. I left these little indents here on the sand, where I was thinking we can come in and we can add in some of our rowboats that I have over in the pier. I want to build another one out in the lake, but we'll do that a little later. As for now, all I literally want to do here is just bring this guy in with some signs right here. Might come back with a boat for some oars on either side, and well, we can throw in a second one over here, swapping out the wood material we're using though, and instead utilizing some oak. I feel like this being a fisherman village, it makes a lot of sense for there to be more boats spread around. They don't have that many larger vessels, but with a lot of small ones, they're still able to catch a lot of fish, and that's looking really good. As a small just little rowboat that they pulled up on the sand because the pier was full. I don't think it is, but oh well. With some large details in, let's wrap up building the house exteriors, where I've definitely gone for some more exciting shapes for these buildings, building a house with a few outcroppings, and moving back to our deep slate roof before finishing up with a chimney, completing the final house in the village. And there we have it, the 4 final buildings in this West Coast Sweden inspired fishing village. But we're not done yet. Before we get working on anything else now, let's just find ourselves into the hill here, where I've hidden away 2 villagers. We're just going to make this space a tiny bit bigger so that we can fit in a couple of beds. Sorry, you're not going to be farmers. Do apologize. Your beds though. Just throw that over there, and hopefully while I'm working on the rest of the village, these 2 will be busy breathing in here, and we'll have some villagers to work with soon. So while we wait, I think it's finally time to tackle the custom birch forest, something I'm super excited about, and I'll have to smooth out the terrain here behind the houses. But first, to break up the monotony of this project, I want to start building up the trunk and branches of all the trees that sit on top of the already existing terrain. Okay, this is looking pretty weird. I decided to switch up from building the leaves and everything to just building the branches, because the leaves were kind of just intersecting each other. But this is a great start. Just have a bit of a problem with this hole, and well, we can't just have grass. Instead, replacing most of the grass already on the correct surface level with a mix of podzol, coarse dirt, and muddy mangrove roots to create the base of our forest floor. I'm also smoothing out the terrain and patching up the large hole in the middle of everything. Throwing in a few simple rocks to help block out that savanna from the village pathway and just break up the terrain a bit. It's looking good. And if I'm not mistaken, I've also created a mob farm. I haven't. Oh, great. I'm pleasantly surprised. It would have been a mob farm had I not left all the holes where the stumps go. Oh, wait. This is where I'm hearing the zombie. Hey, give me that back. 2? Jeez. With our terrain fixed though, let's grab our blocks for our branches and get back to building them up. Where to help me rebuild builds I've planned out in creative, I use a mod called Lakebed. Extremely handy for projects like this, as turning on the feature Easy Place, it lets me streamline the process so much. And if you'd like to build your very own forest, but don't really know how to build custom trees yet, I have a download in my Discord for YouTube members and Patreon supporters with all of my tree schematics, almost at least. Self-plug out of the way, let's wrap up the final branches. It looks really weird seeing a forest without any leaves, well, except those two trees. But before we go ahead and add any of the actual foliage, I would first like to add in a fallen tree, where we'll have a little stump right here. And we can just start extending this in this direction, coming down, where we can run through and add in a few foliage bits and bobs. Already that adds a nice piece of life to the forest. And talking about life, I'd like to tackle the underbrush of the forest, as it's easier to see now before we add in all the leaves, where I'm just running through with a ton of different foliage blocks and adding them on the ground. Already, that's looking so much better with just the basic foliage in here. But it's not all the foliage, because here comes part of this build I've been dreading. Placing the nearly 4,000 leaves blocks I gathered earlier to form the canopies of all the trees. Where I've got the base spruce to acacia texturing of the leaves, but it was also recommended to put some azalea highlights to make the different trees stick out a bit more. Something I really like. And hey, it only took me an hour of climbing in trees to build. I did run back to base though and grab 2 beehives, as I figured we could just add a little bit of life in here by plopping these into some of the trees close by, where we can throw in a few lily of the valleys down here. Get these 2 bred up, and I don't really want to put it on this small one, so maybe just another one right over here, where hopefully these don't fly away. Sleep the night away. Yeah, I just like there's a little bit of movement in here. I think there's some bees in there as well. Hopefully they don't get stuck up there. Oh, they will. They will definitely get stuck up there. Guys, the flowers, they're down here. Okay, thank you. We're not being totally stupid. Right. This also, though, blocks out the savannah a lot. As if I'm just walking down here right now, I do see a few savannah trees out there in the background. I can honestly just cut those down to get some acacia logs someday. And you can basically not see that there's a savannah literally 20 blocks this direction. Oh, this burst forest was a great idea. But we got more to do. And, well, the villagers are probably done breeding now. But I'm in a grind mood, so I think it's time to bite the bullet and get through the final 4 interiors. Okay, bit over an hour spent on that, but I think I'm done. And we'll get back to this interior, as of course I want to just give a little showcase. Once again, thank you so much to my mod Burning for designing these interiors, where we have a little goth interior, and there's a fish in here named John. I named the fish. The fish is food. Apparently, I found out after the fact that I named it. I thought it was a pet. Got a little bedroom in here. Little birthday cake. Coming up on the 2nd floor, we have a little sitting area and another bedroom, where if I just turn on my Matica, Brutus is here. I haven't actually brought Brutus over. I'm sorry, Burning. Maybe in the future. Maybe in the future. Moving on though, getting out that very annoying door, we've got, to contrast the goth, a very pink house. The bedroom down here with a giant bed. I love the dried gas as a little plushie. It's so creative. We got a little reading corner, got a little nice little kitchen. As I catch some fish here, I'm definitely gotta run through this interiors and put some fish on all the campfires. Got a little seating area up here though, looking very good. A lot of plants in this room. I do really like it. Moving out though, and up to this one. This is the merchant's building, and I sort of gave Burning the instruction of making this person a little richer feeling. And stepping in here, I think you already like immediately hits you. You got this top floor here with a little enchanting table and just lounge area, and coming on down you have a grand kitchen, I'd like to say, with a chandelier and a little seating area over here, and then you have a bedroom down the stairs. But I thought it makes sense to have also that. So creative. I love that. I'm stealing that 100%. But I thought it made sense to have a bit of a building be a little more grand and a little more decorated inside, as, you know, someone's making more money in this city, and it makes sense to be the merchant, I guess. I don't know. Trust me, makes sense. And then final interior, which is maybe more of a joke. We have a burning dumpster fire. Burning built themselves. This is a one-to-one look-alike, like burning. This is how burning looks in real life. Trust. Anyhow, so that's all the interior is covered, and I'm really glad I asked Burning to do this. So, you know, if everyone could just thank Burning in the comment section, I'm sure they'd be very happy. Also, thank you, Burning. Where I think it's about time that we actually tackled the entire reason that I'm actually even expanding the village. I want fishermen villagers for campfires. Only campfires. So I've already almost spent 100 in-game days to get fishermen villagers. Not stonemasons. No. Fishermen's. Unfortunately, all the villagers escaped earlier, so that will make things a little trickier, but let's get the space for them cleared out, making a little turn and staircase down to a bit of a bigger room, where I want to decorate the walls and roof as if it's either a hand dug or just a natural cave that the inhabitants of the village turned into a cold storage. Where for a little entrance here, I think we just go pretty simple, where we can bring up a little bit of polish, tough, and deep slate, and just like this, and then have a couple of gates, and we'll also throw in a line of gates down here so that the villagers don't get out of this room, where it's currently nighttime. And if I'm quick about this so that nothing spawns, that would be terrible, but I should have 6 beds. Yes, perfect. That I can hopefully utilize to lure all of the villagers back in here. No, you're not going to work. Go to bed. Perfect. Let me just grab some of the detailing bits. And before they wake up, let's just head down here and start throwing in some of our barrels mainly, as that's going to be their workstations. You can also just utilize a bit of copper and iron, barrels of fish, maybe pull some note block, another chest, and we're gonna need one more barrel, I think. Throw that in there. Gonna be a lot easier to get this in here now, where we can get one of those in there and one of those right there. Perfect. Let's open these up. Hopefully they decide to walk on down here. I might have to remove a couple of workstations up here. Yeah, that's probably gonna be the case. Come on, go to work. All right, come on. Yes. Continue. Yes, they're in. Perfect. Yes, you got the campfire trade. Perfect. It's apparently not a guaranteed, which I thought it was. I'm just trying to find the correct ones. No, that's not the one I locked in. This is the one I locked in. You need to try to get them with coal, because otherwise can't really level them up easily. Assuming this is your workstation. Guess you can be leveled up. Yes, campfire. Come on. 5 out of 6 at least. Yes, I think that's 5 out of 6. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, 4, because I haven't leveled this guy up yet because he doesn't have coal. The village is already looking great, but I think some final touches are in order to really wrap this project up. First, just running down the new path and adding in a few more details along the way, where I've got this open area and it's just perfect for a little field. Not quite sure what I'll plant just yet, as I didn't bring any form of seeds, so we'll get back to that. Got the beacon moved out of the way now, and I really like this here coming through with some more details in. And I think I'm gonna do beets or carrots in this field. Maybe not beets, actually, because we have a lot of red already. But before that, I have something else I want to grab at the base. But before we do that, I want to add one final thing. We need birds. We're grabbing some light gray and white candles. It's really annoying they can't be placed without a block underneath, but no one. Going up into the sky with a dirt pillar, placing candles as I go. I mean birds. Which, oh, I just love a good little birds flying from a forest. It looks so good. Eventually, I have plans to transform the forest in front of this here to the river here on the opposite side, as I want to open it up into the jungle like I mentioned. I think I'm going to turn that into a larger birch forest with more different birch trees and have a little bit more fun with it. Make that a project in of itself. And of course, also fix up the final bits of the lake and all that stuff. But with that project, it could be really cool to build some larger birds flying out in the distance. Oh, that would look so good. Imagine just walking out here and having those. But for now, let's quickly head back home We'll grab 2 saddles off the donkeys and carrots. Only 58. Right, we'll have to go harvest the field. Not sure exactly how many we're gonna need, but let's do a decent sized harvest here. We're back in the village. I've got the carrots where we can get the field planted up real quick. Perfect. Now we can let that grow up. You might have seen that puffer fishes in my inventory, and there's a good reason for that. Because I would like to get myself a Nautilus. I still haven't ridden on one, and I should have brought the armor. I found a diamond Nautilus armor, which apparently, according to some of you, is a 1.1% chance to find in chests. And it's not like it's the Silence Tomb either, which can be found in ancient cities, which literally has tens of chests in each city. So that's kind of cool. Don't know if I'll ever use it, but hey, maybe when I do my water civilization. Yeah. We're doing a water civilization one day. Out in this direction, I think. From my knowledge, well, my knowledge being I saw some Nautilus is out here. Why is there a bee out here? Oh, poor buddy. Oh, there's one. Do I put a saddle on you directly? Do I tame you first? Wait, what? Do I? Oh, good thing about those then. Ooh. Oh, this is cool. And you hold your breath. Oh, okay. Wait, that's kind of sick. Can I? Woo. Ooh, this is kind of cool, actually. Oh, I can see this being so handy doing underwater things. Not that I really do that often, but maybe for like mining even. Will you follow me? No, but let's put you on a lead. Oh, this is sick. Whee! Okay, not sure how useful this is going to be to me, but this is nice. I wonder if they have varying speeds. You get a super fast one, because I feel like this is faster than a boat already. It's not like it's faster than an elytra, but it's pretty fast, and you can boost really often as well. Okay, back here. Let's just lead you to that, because I do have a feeling that these are gonna just swim away. I don't know if they work like happy ghasts. That'd be great, but I think I'm just gonna lead them to that. Sail on you. Get my boat back. Okay, wait. I have to try just building with them. Where I've got a few resources left over, so to add to the immersion, a fishing boat in the lake fishing. Where it was definitely alright using it. I think much better for building something on a bigger scale underwater. Maybe even to help me like do the foliage on the water. That could actually be quite useful. But for a small little boat like this, it didn't really help me that much. It also didn't really hinder me. So Nautilus is very cool. Maybe not the most useful because elytras exist, but it's always going to be like that. So gotta have some fun and use them sometimes, right? With that little mission to get some Nautiluses though, I think that this fishing village expansion is done. Where looking back at the start and how it looks now, it looks so much more complete. Not to mention the fact that we did all the interiors and got fisherman villagers set up. And I was recently on a skiing vacation, which is why I missed an upload. But it gave me some time to watch YouTube, and I was catching up on Beans and Apple's videos, where at the end of their videos, they showcase some community builds from their Discord. And I really like the concept and would like to start doing something similar here and there at the end of my videos. So if you would like the chance to be featured, make sure to join and post pictures of your builds in the Post Your Builds forum. That is all that I have time for today. So thank you so much for watching. And as always, thank you to all of my supporters. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.